Do, do, do. Oh. Welcome to News Strip Down, where I dig through all the news and weed out all the nonsense, so you guys don't have to. Because and I do this 30 minutes or less, because anything longer than 30 minutes is probably just BS anyways. So welcome to Friday's show, end of the week. Sweet. I don't have to watch the news for, well, I'm gonna watch the news for the weekend, but I don't have to broadcast unless you guys want me to. You have to say something in the comments after. So today's March 6th, 2026. Hey James, what's up? It's -7 degrees Celsius. That's 19.4 degrees Fahrenheit for you guys down in the States. And let's head over to Ecuador. So as of Wednesday, sorry I didn't talk about this Thursday. I'm just getting this today. So as of Wednesday, Ecuador declared that Cuban ambassador and all of his embassy people to leave the country. They have 48 hours. So technically, by now, the time I'm airing this, they should have been out of the country. And this could be a result of what's happening in Ecuador with some U.S. Ecuadorian joint efforts on narco terrorism that's happening down there. And you guys know how, like, Cuba and U.S., yeah, they ain't jiving together right now. But yeah, so that could be direct retaliation. The Ecuadorian government is calling it non or persona non grata, is what they're calling this, and this is this is part of the Vienna Convention that allows countries to declare a diplomatic personnel or non grata without an explanation. So they don't need an explanation to kick these people out of their own embassy. They can just do it, and that's part of the Geneva Convention. So they have all the power in the world to do that. But I think they might have a little bit of influence, just north of them, part of that. So, and then Ukraine, I was talking about yesterday about that pipeline that has been interrupting Russian oil to some central European countries, including Hungary and Slovakia. And yes, I know I said Turkey yesterday. I'm sorry, I'm going to fact check myself here. It wasn't Turkey, it was Hungary that is going to start putting pressure on Ukraine if this pipeline isn't fixed. But Zelensky said late yesterday that he'd prefer not to fix this pipeline, but yeah, he'll do it if he has to. And yeah, I got more Ukraine news coming up here. This is pretty crazy. Actually, I can jump into it right now. So Hungarian authorities have detained up to seven Ukrainian citizens, including one foreign intelligence officer, and seized two armored cars carrying large amounts of cash. And I mean large amounts of cash. Oh my goodness. Okay, so Hungary is suspicious right now that Ukraine is using them as a money laundering hub right now. So they've detained two armored vehicles right now. One was carrying $35 million in US currency, and then another vehicle was carrying 35 million in euros, with 9 kilograms of gold worth around $1.5 million. Hey, Epic, what's up? Hail Satan. Yeah, that's okay. Um, so yeah, that's pretty crazy. So they're still withholding these vehicles and this cash until Ukraine can kind of come up with an answer with this. Ukraine is like, he's using the banks right now, and the banks are saying, "Hey, this is just international money going between banks, blah blah blah." But really, like 40 million US dollars. Wow. Wow. Okay. So is he using the Ukrainian people as a hostage to just reap the benefits of cash money flowing from the US and other countries to support his war machine. Well, I guess we'll see what's going to happen here in the next couple weeks because this is huge. And if I don't hear any more about this in the news, this is going to be a huge cover up. Plundering, exactly. Thank you. And then Artemis 2, the launch to the moon here. It was delayed. It was supposed to be taking off here on February 28th, and then there was expected delays due to a helium leak. So they fixed the helium leak now. There was supposed to be projected targets for here in March, and they have now delayed it to April now. And then all known Mars missions now have been canceled. And as far as I know right now, I heard yesterday that as far as I know, the moon landing on the moon, putting people on the moon mission is on delay. They're still going to do some tests and stuff like that, but the landing somebody on the moon right now isn't probably going to be projected till probably 2030, maybe even longer than that. Uh, tu- tu- tu. And then, yeah, big news right before I came live here. Yeah, the Crown Prince of Iran just announced that, yeah, he'll take over as leader right now. And then he's promoting, better things between the Arab people and Arab countries. And then maybe see if he can make it better for generations to come. But that's just talk. That's just speculation right now. Uh, Really, what it comes down to at the end of the day is that who the U.S. is going to allow to get into power. Um, we'll see. We'll see what happens after the weekend here. There's going to be a lot of stuff happening considering last weekend this all just started. And then Canada Japan news. Carney's been across the world here. He was in India, Australia, and now he's in Japan, signing pretty much the same trade deals that he had signed with Australia and sorry, I just said it. But anyways, same agreement with Japan though, a lot more diversified in energy and Arctic collaborations. So Japan wants to start kind of broadening their horizons, exploring the Arctic here. And by the sounds of it, there's some agreements there that Canada is going to give them some places to go and observe or do whatever the hell they want with. So that's pretty interesting. And it's kind of funny. Do I have this on this page? Oh, and another thing, if anyone watched the Canadian Prime Minister Mark Carney signing that trade agreement deal with the Japanese official there, why was she wearing a glove on one hand when she signed that deal? Was that like putting your fingers behind your back? You guys remember that? You know, when you tell a lie, you put your fingers behind your back and that lie doesn't count? Why was she wearing that glove? I'm just wondering that if any of you guys can tell me that too. And there's something very significant about that glove. Trust me. If you guys watch it, let me know. Yeah, a little bit better news today, but tell you the truth, I'm just in the right mood. The U.S. Okay, over to U.S. right now. The U.S. is considering permits for global AI chip sales. So allowing the U.S. to restrict shipments to pretty much anywhere outside the world unless it has American approval. So I don't know if this is because of the computer chip shortage or like an Intel leak. China just did the same thing. Was this on Tuesday where they did put major restrictions on all their microchips that are going to be coming out of the country. So America's following pretty much the same suit when it comes to their microchips and their technology when it comes to their microchips. But this could also be just a reliance on like their necessity and withholding what they need to provide for themselves. So that could be another thing too. I think more of China. China's dumping out microchips like crazy. I couldn't really see them like really needing that much, but they are definitely the world leader in microchips. Just this whole U.S. kind of doing the same kind of agenda that China just said this week, earlier this week, just kind of seems fishy to me right now. And then yeah, and then yeah, that's just gonna bolster China's reliancy even more on what they have with their technology, 100%. And then word of the year right now, reliance. Reliance. That's gonna be the new word of the year. Trust me, reliance. I keep seeing this word come up besides uncomfortable, but you see that everywhere. But reliance is definitely going to be a word of 2026. And then over to Canada here as Vancouver's decriminalization of drugs was a complete frickin' failure in Vancouver. Now Winnipeg, Manitoba is just about to open up their first safe injection site. Wow. Okay. Let's see how this is going to pan out now. Now that the research has been done in Vancouver and really it didn't help anyone at the end of the day, it really didn't make any benefits. It really didn't stop much of anything. So, really, are these safe injection sites worth throwing federal dollars at? Because the plan in Vancouver and East Hastings obviously didn't work. So, doing these other safe injection sites or even thinking about plans about decriminalizing drugs is not the answer. And then putting money to programs like that is definitely not the answer. But we'll see what happens when Carney gets back. Uh, and then still here in Canada, yeah. Sorry, I'm going back to some things I talked about, like in the beginning of the month here. Like I said, there's just so much nonsense. I'm not going to talk everything about what's happening in the east there. It's just too much drama. But back to Canada here, and their federal gun buyback program has been an absolute complete failure. Most of the province won't even agree to do this, and a lot of RCMP, Royal Mounted or Royal Canadian Mounted Police, will not go and serve these duties to go and repossess these weapons. They don't want to put their lives at risk to do this. And then they know it's stupid in the first place that you're just taking guns away from the rightful owners. And yeah, after spending, and the estimated costs right now are at $2 billion on this federal gun buyback program. So it's absolute waste of taxpayers' dollars. And this is just an estimated. There are no actual dollar amounts on how much this has how much this has cost the taxpayers already. But the dollar amount, it started out at 146 million, then to 200 million. Now it's ballooned to $2 billion at estimated cost as of today. But there's no perspective view on how much this is going to cost the taxpayers at the end of the day. So complete failure, absolute flop. Okay, Carney, when you get back, veto that. Veto that because you know what's wrong in the first place. You're making deals around the world right now that really brilliant ideas, and laws like this here in Canada aren't working. And then back to some old news, blah blah blah. Still talks of windmills across the world as green energy, but no one's really taking into consideration their prospected shelf life of 30 to 34 years. Not the projected figures that are coming out right now with major like major headlines with some of these windmills having complete uh, structural failures, and they're only 20 years old. So is this a green energy? And then at the end of the day, there is really not a lot of companies around the world that are willing to be able to process the old windmills. you're dealing with fiberglass, other products, blah blah blah. Now these things are just ending up in landfills. So until we can find a way of properly like disposing of such product, or find a way to be able to make these windmills actually last 30 to 35 years, then I could see it being like potentially viable as a green energy. But right now, as everything sits, windmills is definitely not a viable industry for green energy. Definitely not. Wow, that's 2 pages already, and we're 15 minutes in. That's a good thing. And yeah, old news again. Across the world here, across North America, South America, and then into the islands and stuff, we heard talks about the measles, the nymphic virus, the chikungunya virus, COVID, and RSVP viruses going around. Um, so far, pretty much everything's pretty much calmed down, like through what I hear throughout the news. Here in Manitoba was a pretty epic measles outbreak. It kind of seems to be kind of generalized right now and seems to be taken care of. Uh, and then viruses, and besides a very severe influenza running through North America and other countries, that's pretty much it for like hearing about these measles, the nympha and the guana and COVID and RSVP, or sorry, RSV, not RSVP. But yeah, so pretty much the end of all that stuff, you guys. So I think we shouldn't have to worry. But again, like when it comes to measles and stuff, trust me, that's a tried and tested vaccine. And yes, take it, give it to your kids. It's not like some untested COVID vaccine. And then COVID vaccine still has different variants of their vaccine already that they're still doing. So just everything's okay. Everyone just take it as a little thing, and just grain of salt, everyone. So it's not as bad as they're portraying everything. So as far as I know right now, the viruses are, it just come right down to your common cold, but a strong common cold. And down to Canada and the United States. Well, mostly United States right now. Pizza Hut and Wendy's, along with other fast food giants, are closing across multiple locations, mostly in southern United States. But some of these closures, if you guys like your Pizza Hut or your Wendy's, there's other ones too. You can look them up. But if you're a Pizza Hut and Wendy's fan, go and get your Wendy's and Pizza Hut while you can. The last Wendy's closure is supposed to be expected by November at the end of this year here. Pizza Hut locations, probably a little bit sooner than that. You're probably looking probably May for some of these Pizza Hut locations. And then yesterday, I was talking about China and Hong Kong doing some major talks, which is very unheard of. Uh, yes, I know there's still China, blah, blah, blah. But yeah, China and Hong Kong have been making some major progress in some talks here. And then this could be a direct result of what happened on February 5th, where Hong Kong was restricting Chinese, exports using their ports. So, I think maybe Hong Kong probably pulled the bigger stick out of the hand there, and kind of influenced some talks with Beijing, which finally, that's awesome. But uh, good to see that they're finally talking and some things are starting to actually happen. So that's really good to see, because this is unheard of. Hong Kong, or Beijing and Hong Kong, constantly been biting heads for the last 10, 15 years. Uh, yeah, the measles outbreak's been going on for a while, but go get your shots. And it's a lifetime vaccine. It's a lifetime vaccine. Unless a doctor tells you you need a booster, once you have the vaccine for the measles, you're good. You're good. You don't need another shot. That's a proven vaccine. See, like COVID, you need a booster. You need a booster. It doesn't make sense. But that's it for the news, you guys. If you like the news like this, news stripped down, no nonsense, no BS, no Epstein, blah blah blah, hit the like button, subscribe. I'm here Monday to Friday, 4 to 4:30 p.m. Central Time. I'm here in Canada. Um, yeah, if you guys like the news without drama or anything like that, like I said, I'm here Monday to Friday, 30 minutes or less. Why? Because anything longer than 30 minutes is probably just BS and drama, anyways. So I'm going to end everything. We had a good 20 minutes of some good, solid news that actually didn't make me cringe today. I felt good about the news today. I'm glad I went back to some old topics and had looked up some stuff today. But duh, duh, duh. Oh, yeah, here, sorry. I have one more thing here. Actually, I got two more things I should probably bring up here. I was going to talk about William Stevenson, aka Bill Stevenson, age 77. As of February 2nd, he was arrested for the unaliving of his wife. If you guys don't know who Bill Stevenson is, he's Jill Biden's ex-husband. They were married from 1970 to 1975. So Jill Biden married to Joe Biden. So Jill Biden had already been married. He ended up unaliving his wife. She had been found dead for quite some time, blah, blah, blah. And then he wasn't arrested until a couple months after. And right now, as of today, all documents are sealed, are not available to the public at all. This is insane. Uh, and then they raised his bail. I did earlier say that his bail was only $50,000. No, they bumped his bail to $2 million, which he still hasn't been able to get out of jail with. And yeah, the reason that the sealed documents is could the investigation could still be ongoing. So like this Bill Stevenson guy, Jill Biden's husband, trust me, I haven't forgot about this, you guys. I haven't forgot about this. And then just on a highlight, to you guys down in the States and stuff, you know what? Canada's making a lot of deals across the board. A lot of countries are making deals across the board, and they're making really good deals. And a lot of these are free trade deals. And you know what? If you're down in the States right now and with what's happening, I feel that your government's kind of letting you guys down with their priorities. Like right now, their head is stuck in in the east there. But while other countries are making these great free trade agreements, you guys might be left with nothing. Like, just think about that. Like, that's just me thinking. Like, the deals that Carney from Canada, the Prime Minister of Canada, has just been making in the last, like, since the 26th. And he's just about to leave Japan right now. Some of these deals are just unreal. Instead of like tariffing other countries, let's what was I what did I say the word of the year is gonna be? Reliance. Reliance. Let's stop the reliance. Let's stop the reliance. We need to start making trade deals within other countries. And you know what? This could kind of be a blessing for like a lot of countries. It's starting to open up their eyes, realizing, hey, you know what? Maybe we don't have to have that reliance on just one power, but to an extent. But yeah, that was a great fucking news episode. So yeah, that's it for Friday. I'm not gonna be back till Monday. Monday, 4 o'clock, 4 to 4:30 p.m. Central Time, Canadian time. Uh, yeah, hit the like button, subscribe, and let's end things off on things that happened today, March 6th. Uh, 1836, the Battle of Alamo took 13 days of fighting. Mexican soldiers ended up overwhelming the Texan defenders. Yeah, the Battle of Alamo. And then March 6, 1869, Dmitry Malativ posted the first periodic table in the Russian Scientific Society novel. Well, it was like a booklet. Thanks, James. Uh, March 6, 1899, aspirin was patented by Felix Hoffmann. It was a German company. Anyone? Anyone know who that German company was who created aspirin with Felix Hoffmann? Anyone? Bueller? Bueller? Anyone? Bueller? Bayer. Bayer. Still to this day, one of the leading pharmaceutical companies to this day. Yeah, so that's pretty interesting. 1899. Now think about that. That's the generation of pharmaceuticals right there. Yeah, the creation of aspirin, and then aspirin actually you can get from certain trees here, birch trees, silver birch, white birch. They create or asp, an asp tree, hence the word aspirin. You can make your own aspirin from an asp tree. Just fun fact. Sorry, native knowledge. 1980. Oh, sorry. Let's start with this. March 6, 1964. Boxing legend Cletus Clay. Cletus Clay. Anyone? Cletus Clay. Anyone know who Cletus Clay is? 1964. Cletus Clay. You guys are probably like, yeah, I heard the name. I heard the name. Yeah, he changed his name to a Muslim name to remove his slave titles. What did he change his name to? Cletus Clay. Bueller? 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 Anyone? Anyone? Muhammad Ali. Cassius Clay is Muhammad Ali. So just fun fact for you guys. So if you ever hear Cassius Clay run through your head, yeah, that's Muhammad Ali. So yeah, there's a fun fact for you. Yeah, that was 1964. He changed his name. Hey, Twofer. Yeah, there you go. Thank you. See, somebody was there. Somebody was there. And then March 6, 1981, Walter Cronkite signed off as a CBS evening news anchor. Yeah. Well, it's been that long. He went off to bigger and better things, though. He didn't leave the news industry, though, but that was when he signed off for CBS. So, March 6, 2020, or sorry, March 6, 1921, it was actually technically illegal to wear a skirt that wasn't 4 inches past your knee in Pennsylvania. Yeah, I don't know how long that law lasts. I think it did last until the 70s though, but that's when the law was passed is 1921. You weren't allowed to wear a skirt anything shorter than 4 inches past your knee. Interesting. I'm assuming downwards is what they're talking about. And today, March 6th, famous birthdays 1475 to 1564. Michelangelo, famous painter. If you guys don't know who the fuck that is, then you're way too young or you're not into art. He was 88 when he passed. And then March 6, 1747, Casimir Pulaski, the father of the American cavalry. Yeah, he was born in 1747, died in, listen, listen, 1779. He was age 32, and he was the father of the American cavalry. And I believe he was Dutch, which is kind of funny. Yeah, which kind of, yeah, just kind of funny. No way. Actually, there's something about. Actually, I do have a. Oh no, same name, different thing. And then I have. Here we go. Exactly what you're talking there, Jesse. This is so funny. This is so funny that you said something like that. You just. This is the next topic. Uh, uh, March 6th, 1926. She was 100 years old. Oh, sorry, 1806 to 1861. Elizabeth Barnett Browning. Elizabeth Barnett Browning. Okay, she was a famous poet. And you guys probably don't even realize like her name, blah blah blah, but she's really famous for the poem "How Do I Love Thee." That's like a famous poem that when you're a kid and you're pulling petals from a flower. Yeah, you can thank Elizabeth Barrett Browning for that famous poet. She was 55 when she passed. It was 1861 when she died. And then 1926, Alan Greenspan. Uh, yeah, sorry, Greenspan. This is interesting. Remember this name, Alan Greenspan. He was the chairman for the U.S. Federal Reserve from 1987 to 2006. This guy's seen money. This guy's seen gold. And this guy got secrets. This guy, I'm going to have to look up this guy. Hold on a second. I'm going to have to put a big star next to this guy's name. Yeah. Yeah, definitely. Right there. Big star. I gotta look that guy up later. That's what I'll do during the weekend. And then another birthday, March 6th, 1937, Valentina Tereshakova. Uh, Tereshakova, she was the first woman in space during the Soviet Union era. She was Soviet and Russian. So yeah, definitely. She was 88. Oh no, she's still alive. She's still alive at 88. First woman in space. Valentina Tereshnikova. There we go. First woman in space. Shout out to her. Like, holy shit, she probably didn't even know she was coming back or not. And then today would have been Rob Reiner's 78th birthday. Rob Reiner, if you don't know, famous director, producer, blah blah blah, got his major big start in the as a director for the series of Seinfeld. Rob Reiner, him and Jerry Seinfeld, very close friends with what's his name, the weird guy from Seinfeld. Anyways, blah blah blah. And then David Gilmour. Yeah, sorry, former member of Pink Floyd. It's his birthday. He's 79. Alan Davies. Yeah, he's 59. British comedian slash actor. And then it's Shaquille O'Neal's birthday. He's 54. Wow, what a big guy with a big heart. It's amazing that he lasted that long. Wow, I said 30 minutes or less, but wow. But I'm gonna do some BS news here. Give me about 5 minutes and I'll be back. But if you guys like the news like this, I'm here Monday to Friday, 4 to 4:30 p.m. Central Time, Canadian, or 2200 hours. And yeah, uh, yeah. Hit the like, subscribe. But let me go have a smoke and I'll be back for the chat after. So yeah, I still got a couple hours I can play with. But hit the like button, subscribe. Oh. I